Good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about section 1-3, multiplying integers. Last week we talked about adding and subtracting integers, so if you need some extra help, grab those sheets out. You can also find them on Google Classroom. They have been posted, and you can go back and kind of look through those helpful hints, those examples, those exercises, should you need extra help on this. Now, we're going to go into multiplying integers is similar to multiplying whole numbers. All right, so again, we've done adding integers, subtracting integers, and today we're going to do multiplying integers. So remember, always look at your helpful hints and always look at your examples before you're going into your exercises. It will really help you in order to do your exercises correctly. All right, so remember the following when you're doing these. The product of two integers with different signs is negative. The product of two integers with different signs is negative. Now we're going to go through different ones to show what that means here in a little bit. The product of two integers with the same signs is positive. When multiplying more than two integers, group them into pairs to help simplify. Now, if you notice when we did adding and subtracting integers, it pretty much told you the same thing, to group them into pairs to help you simplify. And we're going to go through that on one of these examples to show you exactly what I mean when if you're multiplying more than two, to group them to help you simplify. There are different ways to show multiplication. Here's your example. So you have 5 times 8, 5 where it shows the dot, it means multiply. This one, the x means multiply. 5 with the parentheses, 5 times 8, and then both are in parentheses. All 4 of those examples mean multiplication. So if you see those, it's all going to be multiplication, and this worksheet is multiplying integers, so you're going to be multiplying the entire time. All right, so we went through our helpful hints. Now we're going to go into our examples. We're going to start with number 1, and it says 7 times a negative 16. Okay, now remember when we talked about adding and subtracting integers, they always said find what your answer is going to be and know what the sign is. So the sign is negative. So we know that we're going to have a negative answer when we're all done with this. Okay. So I wrote it over here on my whiteboard. 7 times negative 16 equals a negative number. Okay. So we're just going to go over here, show some work. I'll go right over here. 16 times 7. That's going to get you 112, but since we know that our answer is negative due to the negative 16, our answer is negative 112. That was the first example. Moving on to the second example, number 2. We've got negative 8 times a negative 7. Now they decided to use parentheses, totally fine. Now we have a negative and a negative, so that means our answer is going to be positive. So I know that I'm going to have a positive number. So all I'm going to do is 8 times 7. That gives me 56. My answer is a positive 56. 2 negatives equal positive. Don't let the parentheses fool you. Parentheses means multiplication. All right, we're going to go on to number 3. We've got 2 times, I'm using the dot here, negative 3 times a negative 6. And the parentheses help you to keep the negative signs apart from each other so you don't forget them. So they did, what we're going to do first is grouping together. Now remember, it says when multiplying more than 2 integers, which we have 3 here, we're going to group them together. So I'm going to group the 2 times the negative 3 together, and that's going to give me a negative 6. I'm going to keep this in parentheses. That just helps me. Now, because we have another negative 6, I'm going to keep that in parentheses, so I keep the negatives next to each other, so I know that it's not a subtraction problem. I know that it is a multiplication problem. Now, we have 2 negatives now. A negative times a negative is going to give us a positive. So all you have to do is 6 times 6, and your answer is going to be 36. Positive 36 there. Okay, remember, when you have 2 or more you have more than two integers, group them together and then solve. Makes it much easier. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.